Ttt Throwdown!
This week's Throwdown is coming to you from Rock Hill, South Carolina at CrossFit South Cherry.
Our demo athletes this week are Stephanie and Chad Beck and their friend, TJ. This week's Throwdown is a 22-minute AMRAP, 15 double dumbbell front squats, 6 shuttle runs, 3 farmer carry laps, 6 shuttle runs, 2 burpee broad jump laps, 6 shuttle runs, 2 farmer carry dumbbell walking lunge laps, and 6 shuttle runs.
And we're off.
And it looks like the old gym, doesn't it?
It does. It looks
That's crazy.
Yeah. And it's also cool when people do the throwdowns like this, like a crew. I feel like this is the best way to do CrossFit.
This is a fun-looking crew. I feel like I would go on a drinking binge with these three.
DM TTT if you want to.
If you want to have a drinking
Well, I
binge.
don't drink anymore. I'm
right.
a couple days past a year, no drinking.
Oh, wow. Nice.
But if I was going to start drinking again, it'd be with these three.
Nice.
You could go out for ice cream.
Yeah, we could.
That's my version.
What flavors do you think they have?
I'd say cookies and cream or
Someone's
chocolate chip cookie dough.
pistachio in there.
Yeah,
Oh,
for sure.
no.
I think it's the big dude. I forgot their names already, but
All right, so let's talk about the workout real quick. Just some constructive criticisms as we move into qualifier season. When you're framing this, and I know she's framing this for the demo and with all her peeps, so I'm not hating on it necessarily. But
yeah, this isn't a submission for no real prize. They're just trying to give us a demo.
Yeah, exactly. But if you were doing the workout, making sure you're in frame and your whole body's in frame for the whole workouts, and also your angles are more appropriate for judging purposes. So I noticed in the front squats, kind of that back angle and black clothes on a black floor makes it really hard to see. So trying to set it up so you can see the full hip angle, full body, those are types of mistakes that if you were in a qualifier would cost you, and it's kind of just an easy thing to fix. Like right now she's 100% out of frame, and that would technically be an invalid video. So those are little details you could practice if you're filming your own workouts. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, for squatting, I think a 45-degree angle works best for people if you're allowed. Did you already say that?
No, I was going to say, I don't know why people get wrapped up on 45 degrees when sometimes 47 is the appropriate.
What about 98?
Ooh, I don't know about that. You'd have to ask Nick.
Haha. But anyways, for online qualifiers, just advice for people in general, prepare for the worst. Like I've seen some people get major penalties, and I watch their videos, and I feel like I'm a pretty, like I'll critique standards pretty hard, but I'm like, I would not have expected that. So you kind of just have to like prepare for the worst and do your due diligence and make sure that all of your bases are covered.
Yeah. One thing, sorry, I'm jumping topics to shuttle runs now, watching them go. Shuttle runs I think are way more technical than you would really think. Just it's kind of run 25 feet down, back, and touch. But there's a lot of
Did you see that broad jump?
Oh, my God. We're going to have to come back to that because he's flying as he's jumping. But as people are doing shuttle runs, straight lines, appropriate number of steps per, and your footwork on the turn can save you probably a second on every single shuttle run. And over the course of a workout, that can be so much time. So pay attention to those little details. I think we've actually put out a shuttle runs short YouTube video that you could watch to kind of get the technique dialed in and run in a straight line when you're doing them.
Yeah, for shuttle runs, I like to count my steps. It only works if you have someone else counting your reps, because or else it gets really confusing. But it helps me anticipate the turn and be ready to make each turn look the same. And I also have my steps when I'm going fast, and then my steps for when I'm blown up. And I try to not let that drop more than that number, and it helps to keep me moving and keep my turns consistent.
Now, moving to the burpee broad jumps, which we're watching, we kind of see...
I am very impressed.
Yeah, same. We kind of have two techniques, or you see that guy right there doing full, like, he's doing 8-foot broad jumps or bigger each time because he's getting across in 3 jumps.
Which is really impressive.
Very impressive for just, like, middle of a workout type explosiveness. But I think for most people, more continuous, steady burpees with a smaller jump, even if you have to add 1 or 2 per 25, is actually going to net better result for you. So you don't have to rest as much between or take long pauses. So just kind of be mindful of that as you're going.
Yeah, I think and it's all relative, right? Like that for him could be very sustainable. But for a workout that's this long, you want to choose your power output level for each movement to something that you can sustain and transition into immediately always. And that should kind of be your measure of, am I going too fast or not? You should always be able to just transition into the next movement and keep it steady.
Yeah, this workout, it's kind of high rocks themed, like the movements, farmers carries, burpee, broad jumps, like they really kind of come from high rocks. There's running in the middle of it.
Extra mini high rocks.
Yeah, it's a mini version with less running as you're doing it. But anytime you have a more endurance themed workout, pacing becomes a huge component of it. Like you'd never run a 5K and run your first mile a minute faster than your remaining 2 miles after that. So this is the same type of thing that you want to kind of regulate your pace and output so you're relatively linear and just steady moving through it. There's no major heavy loading. There's no major complex movements that you're going to get to failure to. So it's really just about managing your output, which it seems like they're doing pretty well here. Like nobody seemed to come out at, Mach 10 pace racing these things. And I think that's a good way to execute this workout to make sure that you can stay steady for the whole 22 minutes.
A little technical point on shuttle runs. I hear a lot of people say that their lower back becomes a limitation with just like the constant bending down. It's pretty common to reach to the ground with the same hand every time. You just have the side that feels comfortable. I think it's important to practice switching that just to alleviate some of that back tension, especially if you are someone who has lower back limitations in general and then in shuttle runs. And that's something like when we talk about turning the opposite way with burpees, it's not going to be natural, so you're going to have to intentionally practice it. But I think that that's really helpful.
Agreed.
My only critique here is that they still have their Christmas tree up. I mean, it is almost February, and why is that thing still there?
Is it blue too? Or is that just my angle right here?
I'm just kidding. They filmed this months ago.
And also, I don't think it's fair that you can only have your Christmas stuff up for technically a month. That's not enough time.
Why is that unfair?
Because I like it.
You should ask my neighbor. That dude keeps it up year round.
Nice.
The thing that gets me is when people have on their front porch Christmas lights and they still have their Halloween jack-o'-lantern. It's like, come on, dude. When you put up the Christmas lights, you couldn't put the jack-o'-lantern away.
They need it.
Maybe they're big Nightmare Before Christmas fans or something.
This workout's my nightmare. This is my nightmare after Christmas.
Yeah, if we sent this one for Max a demo, he just wouldn't have showed up.
I would not be happy. And kind of coming back to this movement with the lunge, because we've talked about kind of each movement as we've gone. If you can, like you see the guy in the middle there, he's swinging through and going from each lunge step to the front one, whereas our demo is putting your foot down and then kind of going, it's like step, lunge. If you can get to the point that you can stay balanced and swing through, it is way faster. It's definitely more challenging. It's definitely more an advanced thing to be able to do it under fatigue. But again, if you're looking to be able to start going from intermediate to RX to elite and start kind of chipping away at leaderboards, these little details start to really add up when you're looking at 20+ minute long workouts.
For sure. And it is much harder. It's something that I struggle with, especially when I'm fatigued. With a movement or this variation of a lunge, you can actually use the dumbbells to help you in that forward momentum. And I think this is actually the easiest form of lunge to swing step in. So if you are wanting to practice it, this could be a good time to do it. And you could even look at it as, I'm going to do 25 feet swing step and then transition, or my first 4 reps are 4 steps or swing steps and then transition.
Yeah. I just watched that transition right there, as you said, transition. And if possible, in a workout like this, finishing whatever the work is in between and then going right to the run, even if the run at first is just like a survival shuffle or almost a speed walk.
Or even a walk.
Yeah,
like you're still
just
moving.
Yeah,
right.
Don't stop and rest there. You can just recover as you move, and you're not really running at a pace where you're redlining. So if you can, really think about the transitions going to the running as being something that you put a little bit more haste on, like a little bit more urgency.
A little more haste, sir.
Chris, if you had to pick 2 friends to do a 22-minute AMRAP with, who would they be?
Ruffin and Ricky.
Oh,
Nice,
I like it.
nice.
DL Ricky?
Ricky could not do a 22-minute AMRAP.
Yeah.
You should post
Well,
a
no,
picture
if I held food out in front of his face the whole time.
Yeah.
Those are my pets, by the way.
All right, so we finished round 1 at 9:10. What you're going to see, so we talked through technique of all the movements. What you're going to see is we're about to put this round at light speed. So we're going to go through this one faster. It's essentially exactly the same thing that we just watched. The goal, if you're doing this, is to really have your first round pace and your second round pace be the same. What you'll see right here is she's at like 20:45, which means that her second round was about a minute slower than her first round. So that probably means maybe movement speed got a little slower, transitions got a little bit longer, whatever the case is. If you're setting up your pace structure watching that, trying to think of each round being the same pace in a workout like this as being a plus execution would be a target. Well, what are you looking at me like that for?
I got dumb stuff to say. Are you done?
Yeah, I'm done.
I was going to say, let's give a shout out to Rhett Rutland back here in the background. He's got a signage. He's clearly a State Farm agent who's he's been insuring CrossFitters since 2000. Well, I can't see the final year there, but shout out to Rhett, man.
You really notice things. I'm too far away from the screen to be able to see that. All right, so we're coming up on the end. We got 20 seconds now. As you're doing this workout, you could see our guy all the way on the right. He definitely picked up the pace of his shuttles. If you have the ability to push, this is a workout where a final push actually can get you a lot more reps on the leaderboard.
For
like
sure.
2 extra shuttles by picking up the pace is definitely possible. So just keep that in mind as you're getting close to the end of this workout, that having a sprint finish can really save you, just like this crew did. Very well done. The effort was there. She's on the floor crushing it. We appreciate you sending the demo, being part of our community.
Thank you for being a good sport and doing 22-minute AMRAP.
Yeah.
I just think it's crazy that it was like true. Like a good Nate farm.
You ruined it. Like a good neighbor.
What is
like
happening?
a good Nate farm. State Farm is there.
You thought about your joke for too long, and then you blew it.
It cooked for too long, man.
Nate farm. State Nabe is there. Oh.
All right. Chris is going to go to bed.
Later.